talked to two ladies yesterday. Went really well, and went back and talked to Mark Pippin with the band The Bag, and had an interview with him. And
how was that event? I didn't get to go to that event.
It was good. I went with my daughter the next day, and it was a bit cloudy and a bit overcast, and she was cold. I didn't dress her appropriately, so we went, we touched the sand, and then we went back home and did some shopping. But you muttered that one a little bit. Is that like a? We went home and did some shopping. Yeah, we did.
It was like a ladies' day out, was it?
Yes, but and then last night I saw, like we were talking before, What the Hell?
Yes.
Really moving. I feel a little bit shaken up after watching that documentary, and I'm feeling very motivated to change my diet, and just need to have a few things soak in, and I'll probably watch it again in Texas with my family, and my dad's on this health kick with me, and we're constantly speaking about health and wellness and the state of the food.
So why is your dad on this rampage as well? Lack of a better term, rampage. It's a mission. It's more of a mission or purpose around health.
Yeah, well, it's been for 2 years. He started getting dizzy.
Okay.
About 2 years ago, and he started falling down from being dizzy. And I immediately said that you need to check your diet out, and what is it that you're eating, and also get tested for cancer. And so he did a whole bunch of tests at the very beginning, and he did a lot of research, and through that research he learned a lot about nutrition, and he bought a juicer and bought a infrared sauna and learned...
Infrared sauna? I've never even heard of an infrared sauna. How does that work?
That's a different show.
Okay, that's a different
show. It's just based... It's all internal wellness, all based on a cellular level, and there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about. And so he finally got to the root of his problem, which was too much mercury in the blood, which is caused from, he thinks, maybe the fish that he's eaten over the years, the canned tuna, which I kind of knew that it was the tuna, or could have been the water that he was drinking. Nevertheless, he has now gotten a few blood transfusions to cleanse his blood and get rid of the mercury, which
is it working?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mercury's dropped?
Yes, his mercury's dropped, and he's also stopped being dizzy, and he still was getting faint, but that's now gone due to the product ASEA that he's been drinking.
Yeah.
And he's been researching this product, and so we've been talking about the product as well. And but going back to the movie last night, I'm just completely shocked with what I learned and was reminded about. Yeah, I've kind of been I've been familiar with what's going on and the chemicals that we drink and eat through our food. This movie was just eye-opening. Yeah,
I've seen a couple of documentaries. We were talking about this before the show as well. So I can't remember which documentary I watched.
Cowspiracy?
It might have been Cowspiracy. Yeah, we discussed it, but it might have been Cowspiracy. So, but it was really interesting. It's just an eye-opener. It's just an eye-opener to see what animals are actually going through when we're taking from them, whether it be their eggs or their milk or anything like that. So
and they'll be the first to admit that I think there's over 450 chemicals, drugs that are given to the livestock industry. 85% of the pharmaceutical drugs are going to animals, and we're consuming that. We're consuming those pharmaceutical drugs that these cows are being injected with, and that they're eating. That everything else. It's we won't go down the rabbit hole in this episode, but I do think that we should have a special segment, and we will be talking about next week. We have Beth from Kids Love to Cook coming in to talk about the state of the children's nutrition in schools, and I think we're going to touch upon this documentary and what's being it's shocking to understand where diabetes comes from, where cancer is coming from. It's all being linked back to the meat, and it's not due to cholesterol. It's not due to, for instance, diabetes is not due. Well, it is due to an increase in sugar, but the reason sugar doesn't cause the increase in sugar, it's the cholesterol that's eaten from the meat that causes blockages in the meat, which increases the insulin, which is where the diabetes comes from.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a byproduct of eating meat.
Yeah.
And they know this, and they know that it's being caused by the meat, and they support meat being eaten because they're getting sponsorship money from the meat companies.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's interesting. That's a story for another day, though, isn't it? And we could go down that rabbit hole for another 2 hours around that, can't we? So, and I think that it comes down to, it's going to be challenging for some people to shift from meat-eating diets to plant-based diets straight away, and I think it's a progressive thing for people just to understand, and it comes down to the awareness, self-awareness really, and educating yourself, and movies like this, documentaries like this, having that scare, it almost scares you into thinking like, wow, look at this, because I remember seeing this documentary and it showed you, it was descriptive, but it was, you could see the blisters on the cows' teeth when they're squeezing the milk out, and it's, when I saw that, I'm like, oh man, I dropped milk straight away. Yeah. I'm on the almond latte now. So
and I think you're right, it is a progression with knowledge and understanding this, and I've been a vegetarian and I've been a meat lover, and when I was a vegetarian and I crossed over to eating meat, I did start to learn that it's the organic meat, that if I'm going to eat meat, make sure it's hormone free and organic, and so for about probably 2 years whilst I'm eating meat, it's only been whether it's if it's organic, I'll have it, and my eggs are organic. But what they're stating in this documentary yesterday is that What the Health is what it's called, is that even organic food is tainted with the chemicals that are being fed to the animals and into the livestock and all the other areas that
we're just trusting people and we don't even know what they're doing to the animals, and that's what it is. It's just it's not to say we have to just cut out meat, everyone who's listening. It's just about having that awareness and watching things with an open point of view.
Yeah.
Having that awareness around myself to see, like for instance this week, for example, I ate a lot more meat than usual because I've been doing the ketones. Yeah. Ketones nutrition. I don't like to use diet.
Yeah.
So ketones way of living.
Yeah.
And it does say having a lot of fat. It doesn't necessarily say that you have to have a lot of animal fat.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm used to having animal fat as my as the way of I can get the fat as fuel. So, but now by the end of the week, I've had meat nearly every day. I'm feeling a little bit more sick.
Yeah.
Not sick, but just like I feel like a little cold coming on.
Yeah.
Where in previous weeks I was having a lot more cauliflower rice stir fries. What else did we have? We're having all these, just a lot of greens. Yeah. Does that mean a lot of avocado?
Yes.
Like a lot of avocado.
Yeah.
That's good fats.
Yeah. Well, they're saying in this documentary that a plant-based diet is the best source of protein, and that you can get all of your protein from plant-based foods. And what we are being taught in our education system and even in the medical system is not right. It's not true. And that's like going back to, like, we trust everybody is for the good of our well-being, and that's not the case. They'll support anything where money flows, and
keep business open. Keep any way to keep business booming and have marketing. So, but yeah, as I said, it is an awareness thing. I have an awareness strategy. I've spoken to you about it a couple of times before, and it is the 5 pillars of health. So 5 pillars of health is mainly 5 questions that I ask myself every single day, and it's a self-awareness strategy around my health.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I get up in the morning and I'll say to myself, 5 elements: mindset, nutrition, competition or competitiveness, mobility, and physique. Okay, so there's 5 things that I ask myself. How I ask myself is, I look at myself in the mirror, and that sounds a bit funny, look myself in the mirror, I'm butt naked, no one else around.
Can we move that visual? Keep going.
Okay, cool. I just stood on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You let my imagination run. I did not like it. Go on, you're butt naked.
I'm butt naked, okay. I'm not butt naked right now out there, if anyone's just tuning in. So I'll stand there and I'll talk to myself and I'll say, what does it take today to have a healthy mindset?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So what does it take today to have a healthy mindset? I look at my yesterday, it's only a 5-minute process. I look at myself yesterday and I say, I was a little bit more stressed than usual. Okay, today I'm a little bit more foggy headed.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to be clear headed. That's the way I'm going to have a healthy mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the next thing I'll go is, what is it going to take today to have a healthy relationship with my nutrition?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the second word, mindset, nutrition. The third one is, what's it going to take to have a healthy relationship or be more competitive with my former self? And that's what the competition side of it is. When I say to people, you've got to have an essence of competition, people think, oh, I'm not competitive. No, you're just trying to be competitive with your former self, or have an essence of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So growth. So I ask myself that question. Say if I'll be better than my previous self is, around work. I mean, work's coming up this week. So how I'm going to be competitive with my former self is I'm going to interview 4 of my personal trainers today and help them around business development instead of 2 that I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So you're constantly challenging yourself to be a better version of yourself.
Better version
That's
of myself.
Awesome.
And the fourth one is what is it going to take to have a healthy relationship with my mobility and flexibility?
Yeah.
So, for example, my back's tight. Okay, well, my back's tight. I'm going to do something right now. I'm going foam roller.
How long is this conversation do you have with yourself when you're standing butt naked?
Well, I mean, yeah.
You just like looking at yourself, don't you?
No, not really. I mean, that's why it takes about probably 30 seconds. I do it really fast because I don't want to see myself naked. And I do it in the dark.
Okay, what was the last 2? You would.
So it's mobility.
Yeah.
So how am I going to be more flexible today?
Yeah.
Really, And the last one is physique.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at myself in the mirror right now. How am I going to have a healthy relationship with my physique? These cued words are on purpose.
Yeah.
Healthy relationship.
That's good. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what's it going to take to have a healthy relationship with my physique today? It's not like don't eat. That's not going to have a healthy relationship with my physique. It's the way I look. Do I feel good about the way I look today?
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying about the previous 29 years of my life. I'm looking at today.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'll do what I can that day.
Yeah.
So it's a body awareness. It's a process that I like to go through.
Yeah.
It could be we could challenge a faster way of doing it.
Yeah.
Or a better way of doing it. I'd love to challenge that over the next couple of weeks. And it's a process that I've been working on. And it came from that summit that I did last year I got 27 fitness influencers to talk about health. And these are the 5 things that they always came up with. Mindset. That's what I talked to athletes like a UFC fighter. He's talked about mindset, talked about nutrition, talked about physique, talked about competition, talked about mobility.
Yeah.
So always these things just kept popping up. So it was 27 key speakers, and if you look at the experience that these 27 people had, like Lindy Cohen, she's the new nutritionist, she calls herself. She was on there. She's always on the Today shows talking about nutrition, and she's a dietitian and nutritionist. I had Richie Vass, UFC fighter, former UFC MMA fighter.
Sounds
talking
good.
about.
We should bring them in to the studio.
We will.
Yes.
Alison Nancy was on there, our previous guest. My John Taylor.
Oh,
Hanshi John Taylor, our guest today.
I cannot wait to meet Hanshi.
Hanshi John Taylor. So we've got a secret to share about Hanshi John Taylor. So I'm looking forward to that one. So he's a certain someone's family member. I'm not going to name who at this present time. So
you know what I just realized? Is that filming upside down?
Maybe.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
I see the live is upside down.
Oh, it's a work in progress, isn't it? That's what happens when I'm rushing in. And I'm talking to Jordan.
We got here, an hour early?
We got here 40 minutes early. We're just like chatting to each other. I think that's what it is. But I was talking to Jordan, Geordie, the previous person that was in here, and she was on Facebook Live, and we were chatting while I was putting it on live. So I must have just clamped it in, talked to her, and that's maybe it's a guy thing as well. I can't do 2 things at once.
Yeah,
it's something
I
that
can't
I'm
do 2 things at
once.
once.
Okay, cool.
Either, so.
I'm glad that you said that as well. It makes 2 of us.
Yeah.
So speaking about the guests though, we've got 2 awesome guests today. Let's run through the first one. Tim Heineke.
Yes,
Yeah,
Tim.
so he's your guest that you're bringing in today.
Yes,
so,
well, and on top of Tim being like an awesome, funny, cool guy.
Yeah. He's outside the studio now.
He's an author, he's an educator. He's been a teacher for his career, but he's shaped schools and made kids be better versions of themselves. And he's now established the Student Engagement Institute, and he helps parents help their children be better versions of themselves. And yeah, we're going to talk about a few things today. And
awesome.
Yeah.
I look forward to the chat with Tim.
Yeah.
And we've got another one, as I said before, Hanshi, past president in South Africa as well.
Wow.
So, but he's a man with many stories to share. So he's still a young man and still very wise.
Yeah.
In my eyes, he's still 73 years old. He's still
well, he looks
young
and fit.
Yeah, he looks young and fit.
And maybe he can share some self-defense tips.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think that would be something of value for the viewers and listeners.
Yeah, he gave me a couple.
Did he?
Get out of the karate studio.